Hi everyone, hope you are all doing fine. You are probably a bit confused right now and asking yourself, why is a beige ball talking to me? I don't remember having these on my subscriptions. But wait, do not click off yet, let me explain. I am that girl that last year was posting videos about Japanese history, doing Ghibli reviews, among other things. Do you remember me now? I had to take a break. At the time, I even talked about it on a community post, but I am quite sure it didn't reach everyone. In any case, I never expected to be gone for this long. Originally, I thought the hiatus would last 4 months, maybe 5. I even thought maybe I could keep posting, but less frequently. But then again, maybe I should have expected this with the combination of things that were happening. This is going to be a short video. I just want to tell you guys what I've been doing, what the next videos are going to be about, and of course address the elephant in the room. So in November of last year, which was when I stopped posting videos, I had just finished all the classes from a multimedia course I was taking. As such, to complete my studies, I just needed to turn in one last thing, a final project. The final project could be virtually anything. I was given total free rein, so of course I chose to do something fun. I had the opportunity to go all out, so I took it and decided to make a game. More specifically, a visual novel. I wanted something challenging, but within my capacities. Doing this allowed me to experience a lot of things for the first time. To give you an idea, I hadn't even touched a drawing tablet before. So even though it does sound simple in principle, this little project of mine was actually a lot of work. I will talk more about the visual novel in another video, and the reason why I will be doing so is because of its theme. For those who aren't aware, visual novels are a niche type of game that revolve around interactive storytelling. So, in other words, their focus is on the plot and character development, being so that the gameplay generally takes a secondary role. This is, of course, a very brief explanation, but it's probably enough so that you get an idea of the kind of entertainment we are talking about here. Visual novels appeal mostly to people who like to read and who like to roleplay. So, if you are one of those people and you are also interested in a fantasy setting based on Japanese mythology and yokai folklore with hints of Buddhism and Shintoism, stay tuned for when that video comes out. Now, the story I created for my visual novel is quite lengthy in nature, so all I was required in order to pass with full marks was to finish the entire prologue, which I did. The whole thing took me about 3 months, from sending the project for approval to its publication on an indie games platform. Which begs the question, why didn't I came back after the game, or at least its prologue was done? Well, that's because, long story short, I went to Japan for around 3 weeks. I thought about coming back to the channel to tell you this, but I decided it wasn't worth it since I was already well into the hiatus and it didn't seem fair to make an announcement just to say I was going to be gone for even longer. I figured I might as well tell them everything once I came back. This wasn't a last-minute decision or something that happened unexpectedly. Me and my family, we had been planning this trip for over a year. That's because my father is black belt in Aikido, which is a martial art, and he was invited to participate in the 7th World Butokusai, which is a very important event that took place in Kyoto last April. And like hell we were going to let him go alone. If one goes to Japan, we all go to Japan. I'm sure you understand the sentiment. In any case, it was already February when I completed my studies, which means less than 2 months until the big day. And as I'm sure you are aware, a trip of this magnitude requires some careful planning. We had already made a lot of reservations, all the important ones, because April and May are very busy months in Japan, not only due to international tourism, but also because of domestic tourism, but there was still a lot to do. I was terrified that something would go wrong even before the day of the flight. Everything had to be perfect. You see, I live in Portugal, so I couldn't be further away from Japan. I am literally on the other side of the world. Going to Japan is not something we can do every odd year, and I'm very grateful to my family for having given me this opportunity, not only once but twice. That being said, I don't see it being something I can afford on my own in the future. So, this might have been the last time I visited Japan as a tourist, which is not the same thing as saying I will not be visiting again at all, because there are more affordable options I would love to look into. I will not talk about my adventures in Japan right now, because my plan is to make a series of videos about it. I will show you the places I visited, tell you what I learned. I will also be showing you what I bought. It will have an unboxing component too. It will be something special, a one-of-a-kind series on this channel. And I will be rambling a lot, just so you know in advance, about things that might or might not interest you, but that are dear to me. In other words, even though it will be a series about traveling to Japan, it will definitely not have the same vibe as a travel blog, for example. It will not be the kind of thing that will interest people looking for a more touristy kind of presentation. I will be fangirling about the Golden Kamuy pilgrimage that I went on, showing off anime merchandise, and probably getting lost in rants about historical stuff. As a bonus, you will get to hear about all the embarrassing stuff that went on, so get ready for the tea. And those are the two main reasons that kept me away for so long. Having had so much time to think led me to second guess the way I used to make videos. It's no news to anyone that I come across as really awkward in my videos because of being camera shy and way too self-conscious about the way I mispronounce words. No matter how hard I try to relax and act natural, I keep failing over and over. My delivery just feels robotic and I can't help it. I kept telling myself it would get better, that I would get used to talking to a camera, to showing my face, but I don't think I'm making any progress really. After 20 videos, I'm still the same old me, and charismatic and stiff. And people like to say everyone starts out making bad and unpolished videos, but when I look at other small YouTubers, I can't help but to notice how much their personality shines through, regardless the quality of their videos. And that's what's most important on YouTube. It was this frustration that led me down the rabbit hole of VTubers. It's something I never thought I would be into, but the more I thought about it, the better an idea it seemed. I don't have to show my face, I don't have to worry about how I look on camera, about whether I'm smiling too much or too little, about the pimples on my skin, or whether I'm making the right amount of eye contact. Of course, I know I shouldn't be thinking too hard about these things in the first place, and that this is precisely part of the problem, but I cannot just turn self-awareness off, can I? And yeah, that's when I decided I wanted an avatar. Now I can work on one thing at a time. Anyway, what do you think of my new form? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Would you like me to go back to showing my face? At the end of the day, I'm just trying to make my content the best it can be. So if you think this is not the way, let me know. Personally, I think it could help me, especially in the short term, but I'm open to different opinions. As for the story of how my avatar came to be, there's not much to it. VTuber models are crazy expensive. I couldn't afford to buy one, so the only option was to make one myself. Did I know how to do it? No. Did I have any experience with animation? Also no. So I thought to myself, okay, I need an avatar that will work no matter how much I mess things up. Because I have seen my fair share of clunky avatars, you know? If you don't make the movements of a human avatar super smooth, the end result will gross everyone out. Maybe because of the uncanny valley effect? In any case, I didn't want to end up in the situation of having done a lot of work for nothing and then having to throw an unusable avatar in the trash. That's why I decided to become a Mochi. Nothing could be easier to rig and it fits the theme of the channel. It is also really easy to customize. See, now my Mochi is dressed in Jomon clothing. I decided on a vanilla Mochi because of its neutral color. This way I don't have to worry about colors clashing in the future. If I decide to make more outfits for my avatar, that is, which is likely to happen if I keep using it. Currently, I have 5 sets of clothing. The only problem is that I have to redo the whole model every time I want to change clothes, which is a bit annoying. But it's the price I have to pay for using the free version of Live 2D Cubism. With my current skills, I'm obviously not ready to commit and pay for the whole thing. Besides, I don't even know if I'm really going to become a Vtuber at this point. I'm just experimenting. And if you're familiar with Live 2D Cubism, you might want to ask, why didn't you use the Pro version free trial? And my answer is because it's a trial. If I'm going to be stuck with this Mochi avatar in the long run, I don't want to lose access to it suddenly because the trial is over. And if you ever wondered how a VTuber is born, let me walk you through the process real quick, just for curiosity's sake. First, I did a bunch of sketches that look cuter than the real thing because sketches be like that. Then I used Medibank to draw the avatar itself, along with a bunch of expressions and outfits. I will not be showing the outfits because I have to leave something for the imagination. The only thing I'm going to say is that the outfits match the themes of the videos to come. A little something to look forward to. Then came rigging, which is when things got tricky. Parameters are what allow parts of your model to move, and the free version only allows 30, which seems like a lot, but it's really not. Especially when you want to start adding toggles, which are, let's call them extras. The different outfits, for example, are toggles. And I feel like the only reason why I could make them in the first place is because my model is this simple. Then again, even a model as simple as this could have benefited from additional parameters. Especially in the mount area, I only have 2 working here, it's not very dynamic. I may do edits in the future, but I definitely need to be careful with this limited number of parameters thing. When you delete something in your model, the mesh, which is this, also gets deleted, as well as all the adjustments you made. So it kinda sucks even if you have your drawing saved. But the next part sucks even more. When you're done with the rigging, you have to make a map of all the parts that make up your model, and the free version only allows you to have one map, around 2000 per 2000 of size. Everything has to fit in there, and that includes big-ass outfits. That's why I said before I have to redo the model every time I want to change outfits, because I can only fit one in the map. This all looks like I'm complaining, but I'm really not. I'm aware I'm using the free version of a program. I'm mostly explaining, really. The final step was to upload the model into a software called Vtube Studio. This program is what allows one to track their movements and use them to animate the avatar. The only problem I had here was that I couldn't figure out how to make my model move its arms. I originally had an animation for them, but hand tracking doesn't seem to do the trick. Maybe that's for the best, this way I don't have to worry about the logistics of complicated movements while wearing an outfit. And voila, that's how it's done. I didn't have to tell you all of this, but this is a I came back video. What else am I supposed to be talking about? Besides, in the eventuality you want to give suggestions related to my avatar, now you're better informed about limitations and whatnot. One last important thing before I end the video, I don't know if you remember, probably not because it was a long time ago, but when I entered this break, I was working on the third and last installment of my series, Thoughts on How Manga Set in Prehistory, a challenge I gave myself. A mega review comprising 10 educational manga, covered in the first 2 videos of the series, and 15 standard manga. Well, I'm afraid I'm still working on it. Who would have thought that reading 15 manga, some with more than 100, 200 chapters, watching the corresponding anime, then doing research about them and putting thoughts down on paper would take such a long time. I know, right? What a shock. I was a bit naive and I owe you an apology. At this point I invested so much time in the mega review, I have to finish it. Certainly you heard about the sunk cost fallacy, right? That's the phenomena at play here. But in any case, I will be more careful in the future. Even more so because I don't know how much free time I will have for my hobbies from now onwards, but I'm predicting it will not be a lot. And yeah, this will be all. In summary, I will be making a series of videos about my travel to Japan, a video about my visual novel, then I will complete my prehistoric series, and after that things will go back to normality. See you next time, have a great day, and I appreciate all of you very much.